Hello, this is the first part of our series on Arthur Schopenhauer. This one's about his theory of the world as will and representation, the shaky and indeed trash concept that forms the foundation for his entire philosophy. Enough small talk. Quick thumbnail biography. He was born in Poland in 1788 and then he died. He was very sad and he really hated Hegel. Look at him there. There's something about him. Oh yeah, forget Arthur Schopenhauer. More like I'm going to open the door in an hour for Arthur Schopenhauer so he can enter the building. Whoa. Now, to get a good grasp on the ideas of our friend Mr. Schopenhauer, we first need to get our heads around his view of the world as will and representation. This sounds complicated, but it's actually fairly simple. This is actually one of the most coherent parts of Schopenhauer's metaphysical writings, but mainly because he stole it from other people. Because will and representation are just various combinations of the ideas of Buddha and Immanuel Kant, with a little garnish of Schopenhauer misery on the top. Just a little misery light. So first we have representation. Representation is what we can see around us, and it's fairly objective. This is an apple. This is a pen. This is a dog. We may have different opinions surrounding these objects, but they are fairly concrete. In Kantian philosophy, they are referred to as the phenomenal world.
We are living in a phenomenal world, and I am a phenomenal girl.
This has been compared to the Maya in Hindu and Buddhist philosophy, in that it's the physical world, or the world of representation, or the phenomenal world, or whatever you want to call it, that is the facade that hides a secret world behind it. So will. Kant referred to this as the noumenal world. He said the noumenal world was so secret that nobody could ever know what it was or prove that it existed. So you just have to trust him on that one. But, it's totally, absolutely there. But this wasn't quite enough to convince our buddy Arthur the Schope dispenser Schopenhauer. Oh no. So he combined Kant's hypothesized noumenal world with the Hindu belief in the presence of Brahman's essence in all things. We might also consider the Advaitu Hindu interpretation of Atman as a kind of unified consciousness, and of course the escape of the soul from the cycle of reincarnation known as nirvana, where everything kind of merges together into oneness. Well, Schopenhauer combined these ideas and claimed that Kant's noumenal world was in fact the world of will, will being a kind of driving force behind all things and a single unifying essence. It's kind of like some sort of force that surrounds us and penetrates us, that binds the galaxy together. Therefore, harming any other living thing, or trying to block its will, is essentially harming yourself. Schopenhauer used the image of the Ouroboros, a snake, eating its own tail, to demonstrate this. Don't worry if you're not completely with me here, because we'll look at some examples now. Also, it's just a load of trash he nicked off Kant, and nobody likes Kant anyway. See this plant? Of course you do. It has things that you can see, feel and hear. The leaves and the things, the squishy bits. It doesn't have a stalk, but if it had one, feel that. They all exist in the world of representation. They're what's there. Now, what is the will of this plant? It doesn't have a brain, so it seems weird to attribute some kind of life's ambition to it. It doesn't want to be a fighter pilot. It doesn't want to be a dentist. It doesn't even have the concept of wanting to be anything. Its will is a blind force. It drives it to absorb water and absorb all that tasty sunlight through its leaves, convert it into energy, and make it grow more so it can have more water and more sunlight and more glucose and so on, until it can have lots of lovely little planted babies. That is its essence. However, you don't need to be alive to have a will. Take this compass. This compass, for example, has a will. The magnet within it is driven by the special force of will to point north. I'm not doing it. It's the will of the compass. Rivers flow, stones sink or erode, dogs play poker and smoke cigars, all driven by the invisible force of will. You and I, we're a bit extra special, because Schopenhauer says we have our own will, our own goals and dreams and motivations, even if we only have them so we can eventually be disappointed by our failure to achieve them. Still, this is our will. So representation is the world as we see it, and will is the blind driving force that connects all things and drives them. Bye! See this plan? Of course you do. It has bits